Hey everyone, on today's show, we've got our full review of Stranger Things. We talk about Superman's new costume, outfit, suit, what do you call it? And so much more on this episode of the Best Friends podcast.
What? Did we just become best friends?
Yup!
Greetings, friends of the show. Welcome to another episode of the Best Friends podcast. I'm Justin.
I'm Lucky.
Are you lucky?
We're the best friends.
There's a delay there.
No, we should have said that part together. It sounds good. And we're the best friends.
You want to try it again? Let's try it again. Greetings, friends of the show.
Okay.
Welcome to the Best Friends podcast. I'm Justin.
I'm Lucky.
And we're the best friends.
And we're the best friend.
Our timing was off.
Good. Nice.
Our timing was off.
Whatever.
Yeah, but we tried.
Tried.
So this week we have a lot of things to talk about, but I think the most notable that we'll get to probably at the end of the show is our review on Stranger Things, the Netflix phenomenon that is sweeping the globe, because I think everybody everywhere is watching it.
You should have put like some cool 80s beat music in there, or maybe the actual song from the show.
I will in post.
Do that?
Yeah,
that will be awesome. Okay.
I don't know what I'll
And then edit out what I just said.
Yeah. What a cool show. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
So notable of this past week, Superman has a costume for the Supergirl TV show, and I don't know. Of course, the internet's shitting on it because, like, that's what they do. Everything has to be terrible.
Just real quick. Do you think like if you were a superhero, is it demeaning to call what you wear a costume? Like,
yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, right.
What
What
is
is
it?
it?
Like what's the proper nomenclature to be like? Yeah, look at his. Because it's not a Halloween costume if you're a real superhero.
It's like a suit.
Theoretically, you know.
Yeah.
His super suit.
It's my suit.
Or what is it? Traditional Kryptonian garb or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, that's probably most accurate.
Like, if it was real, wouldn't it be like culturally insensitive? Like, nice costume. You'd be like, this is the wear of my people. They have a right to make fun of me. You're culturally insensitive, sir, and I don't appreciate it.
You see a guy with a yarmulke, and you're like, hey, nice costume.
Yeah.
He's like, hey.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's like.
Nice hat.
Nice cape. Stupid coat. Like, hey, a lot of people died wearing this cape. In fact, all of my people died wearing this cape. I'd appreciate some respect for the dead. Like, anyway, so yeah, he's got a new costume.
He's got a new costume. So, what do you think of it?
I think it's fine. I think it looks, as far as TV Superman's, it looks great.
Yeah.
You know, he
Yeah.
doesn't have the under. I like that it's an actual belt. I think it's kind of weird in the comics. It just has like the little square. The current Superman is just like a little square in the middle. Because it's like, what's the point of that then? I don't know.
Well,
like it's a nice nod to that he used to have underwear, just to give him a belt, you know?
yeah, but here's my issue with the belt, is that he's wearing like a full body suit. And so the belt is really just like, it's not doing anything. Yeah, it's like that Mitch Hedberg joke. Like, you know, are the belt loops or is the belt the hero? And in this case, like there's not even belt loops. So he's just got a belt on for no reason. Whereas
he doesn't have gadgets and weapons like Batman either. There's no utility to
it serves no
belt.
purpose. Yeah.
There's literally no utility to it. Yeah. So maybe he doesn't need a belt.
Yeah.
We talk about Supergirl real quick too.
Sure.
I think it's kind of demeaning they have her in a skirt. Like, in the new. Did I mention this on an old podcast or not? Or did I just text it to you once? But like in the. Did we already talk? I'm having deja vu right now.
We
But,
talk
like,
a
in
lot
the-
about
if
superheroes
you
on
watch-
this show, so yeah, you probably are getting deja vu.
In
It's
the
kind of what we do
Injustice
here.
2 game, her uniform, costume, whatever garb looks pretty much identical to his, and I think that makes more sense. Just like, oh, if you're Kryptonian, why wouldn't you all have the full bodysuit? Like, why does she just have to have a skirt and go-go boots just because she's a girl? Or I know it's a nice nod to previous Supergirl designs, but like in the socially aware, gender-neutral culture we live in today, that make more sense. Wouldn't it be more empowering? Isn't it like wearing a pantsuit while you're giving a speech? Wouldn't it be better if she wore the same thing Superman did?
No, because
It's like,
like,
good.
don't forget DC Comics put Wonder Woman in pants at one point, and the internet exploded because they're like, Wonder Woman can't wear pants. So yeah, you can't.
Well, whenever she's wearing just her under, I explode too. I made it dirty. Sorry.
You're vulgar. So more
I
about
know.
Superman suit. Oh boy, I unplugged myself. Hold on, I can't hear anything. Okay, more about the Superman suit. The one thing I would say I don't like it is there's like gold clasps where his cape attaches to the chest.
Yeah, I don't really like the gold clasp. Just
and it
I
seems
don't
like
see why
really like kind of
it's like leather.
It's like a scoop neck. It's like it goes like you can see all of his clavicle, and I think it's too much there. Like
This is the hipster version of Superman, and he's wearing a super V-neck.
yeah,
Just-
a little too much, but I like it.
Why is the cape? There's like leather straps on it, or is it half leather? I don't understand that. I can't
Yeah,
really
so it
see.
looks like where it attaches to his chest, it's like leather that goes over the shoulder, and then it becomes like, more traditional fabric.
Yeah. If anything, I say it looks very regal. So
It
I mean, he
does.
looks like Tonian royalty or something.
I
But-
think it's a nice bridge between the cinematic Superman, where he looks kind of that ilk. They're kind of cut from the same cloth. Pun. But
yeah,
see what I did there. But they
commented on that before.
but it's different enough that you're like, oh, this is TV Superman. So,
Yeah.
do you?
Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask like more of a like question about. Do you find it conflicting to have like Superman on TV and a Superman on, in movies? Like, can you
Now you
differentiate?
kind of asked the question. This is the direction I wanted to go. I can differentiate. I think most people can. I think what's confusing is if you're not into it and you're like, well, the Marvel ones, they're all in the same universe, but like DC, they're not, and like they really like specifically like we are not the same universe, which I don't know if that's gonna bite them in the ass later or if they like it that way. But now that there's a TV Superman, I want there to be a TV Batman, and I hope when they do Flashpoint, they have a Thomas Wayne Batman in it, which would be awesome.
Thomas Wayne.
But yeah, and hopefully maybe there's a Bruce Wayne Batman. But
Yeah, I was
like,
gonna
I
say,
don't
I think-
think the Gotham goes along with the CW universe, which I like what they're doing in the CW universe. I've never really watched Gotham though, and like I think maybe they made a foul there by not making it a Batman show.
Yeah,
And
there's.
And also, you can have a Batman show. They had it in the 60s. I mean, it was all campy and stuff, but like you could do a Batman show. Just make him a detective most of the time, and that's like the premise of the show. He's solving mysteries and fighting guys occasionally. You know what I mean? You can keep the budget low if you do it like that. You don't have to have him swinging in and out. You can like write it. He's just investigating shit. He's just Columbo in a bat suit. Maybe he fights people every now and
Columbo.
Yeah.
Because that's the most recent
Get the
detective show.
I know. I heard someone else talking about it, so that's my only reference. Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, maybe a house, but for like a cop instead of
Okay.
finding disease. That's even a dated reference. I have nothing. I'm so old.
You haven't watched
have
TV in
anything.
20 years.
I know. The only like modern stuff references I have is comic books. But...
If it didn't happen on Rick and Morty, it never happened to you.
No, yeah, yeah. If it's not sci-fi, high concept sci-fi rigmarole, I really don't care. But
So the Superman suit, because it's not a costume, is pretty good for TV. What's your favorite on-screen costume or super suit of any superhero? So like movies, TV. What's your favorite?
oh, I like that Batman one from Batman v Superman. It's too
The
bad
new
it was
one.
wasted on such a shitty movie, but yeah. I like the one from Batman vs Superman though. They kind of tweak some things in the Justice League one, it looks like, but I like the one in Batman v Superman because it was like had the gray and the black for the first time, and then I think they got a little too armory, a little too busy with the Dark Knight trilogy, and then especially in the video games, it's almost like he's wearing a robotic suit. But like, I like the what he had in the Batman vs Superman, because like, so maybe it's all his physicality and technique and stuff, and then maybe it's just like a hardened material that he can maneuver in, and maybe it's just like cut resistance or something, some kind of Kevlar mesh weaved in with titanium or something. I'm not a
Alloys
scientist.
and
Yeah, alloys.
elements
Thank you.
and stuff. I don't know. I'm just making
Yeah.
up words. I asked the question. I don't even know if I have an answer. Just because I don't think there's been one that's like, yes, that's the best one ever.
Nailed it. Yeah.
And I feel like so predictable to say it, but I think for me, my favorite is just the Batman suit from the 1989 movie, and only because of like the nostalgia that has for me, because it's like,
it's a taste thing. I get it.
not because it's the best, but it's my favorite, and so
You know what I like it, but like he has the yellow symbol in it. It's just so
and a
cartoony.
bright yellow belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like maybe take that suit, but add the symbol from I think it was subdued in the Joel Schumacher ones.
Yeah, it was like
The Joel
just a big
Schumacher is
black
decent.
one.
Just get the nipples out. Yeah. What about Batman Returns? Did he have the yellow thing in that too?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, Batman Returns, definitely, yeah. Yeah.
It was, and also the bat symbol in the first one had like a weird extra little tail thing in the design. It was just funny.
Yeah. But
You know what I mean? Just little loops.
Yeah. I like that one. And I'll pull out another.
And the bright yellow belt.
Yeah, and I'll pull out another one that I liked. Was X-Men First Class, when they were wearing blue and yellow suits. We finally got to see our X-Men as we've.
Oh, okay. No, okay. You know what my favorite one actually is Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Then.
Oh, really?
That looked like that suit.
Yeah, kind of
Looked-
did.
You could see like a superhero team wearing it because it looked functional, but like it was like a nod to the comic books too, of that same type of suit you're talking about.
Can you just admit that you just wanted to say
I have-
Negasonic Teenage Warhead on our podcast? Like
Oh,
that's
That too is just the
yeah,
most
it's a fun name. To
Negasonic
say.
Warhead. Oh yeah, it's I have the same exact reaction as Deadpool has. That's the best name ever. But like,
Is that
yeah.
like the password to your email and stuff? Like, did I just figure that out? I think I did.
Yeah, it takes me a minute to log into everything. Or like my tie is like stuck in an ATM machine. It's like, just tell me your password. Tell me your password. It's Negasonic Teenage Warhead. And someone's like, how do you even spell that? Just like, oh,
It's like it sounds. It's like it sounds.
Bosco. Megan
Bosco.
Seinfeld ref.
Oh, I heard
Yeah.
it. I know. I'm with you. Bosco.
I know you knew. That was for the viewers or the listeners. Yeah, I like. I guess it's a little better than the ones in First Class. Actually, they're pretty similar, but I just like hers better.
Yeah. What about Spawn? Because that was cool back in the day. We were kind of like,
Yeah, but like it had that whole '90s aesthetic, just like give him a muscle suit type thing, and then like you could tell like it kind of limited its movements, like he's moving kind of stiff in it.
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like they just didn't have materials back then. It's kind of like the same thing as the Schumacher batsuits. Just like, he doesn't look like he can move very well in that. But
Isn't that's kind of interesting? Like the Batman suit that Christian Bale wore, they kind of like it wasn't a cowl. It was almost like a helmet and he had like an armored like neck piece. But then in Batman versus Superman, they kind of went back to like a rubber cowl that Ben Affleck was wearing, but it looked like he had pretty good range of movement in that. So I'm just wondering what they did that was different.
Maybe like, I think in real life they have better materials now. You know what I mean? Just
that's
better
probably the case.
access to materials, costume design. But the Dark Knight uniforms, because that whole world was so set in reality, it made sense for him to have it to be a little helmet. So maybe it's like a protection and stuff. So it fit that universe,
Right.
But I'm looking at Spawn pictures right now, and then it has the ones where he's half Spawn, like where he's just like a dead burned guy.
Yeah.
And it still looks like a
Deadpool.
muscle suit. It's just funny. Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. Deadpool, yeah.
His face does, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a movie I wish they would remake now. Like, now that the technology's better, I feel like...
Oh, yeah, the CGI was way better in it, yeah. Because that came out even before The Matrix, and The Matrix has some bad CGI in it.
Yeah, now. But, like, again, it's... Now they can make anything. Like, they're at the point now where they can just make anything. And in the age that we live in, where like Ghostbusters and even Star Wars and just everything's like a sequel, prequel, rehash, reboot, whatever. Now's the time more than ever that's like, remake Spawn, remake movies you tried to make in the 80s and 90s that had just awful special effects. Like, try again now, because it'll be even better.
I agree.
So,
is there something else besides Spawn you want remade?
Probably.
Some of them are doing it with the TV shows. Like, I used to watch that Flash show in like the 90s with my brother.
The Flash TV show?
Flash. Yeah.
I know. I watched that too.
So, and now, like, it's so much better.
Do you remember if that show was good?
I don't think it was good, but I remember watching it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it's on Amazon, actually, if you want to check it out. So maybe we should go back and watch a few episodes or something.
Oh, boy. So IMDb has that TV series rated 7.3 out of 10, which isn't bad.
Well, people liked it, then. I think that's about average for a TV show.
Yeah.
Network TV. It's not like, like HBO shows are much higher rated just because they're better shows.
Well, and it's... it only ran for like 2 seasons, I think. But that Flash suit is awful. like looking back at it, it's not good. Yeah. It's not good.
I think I even remember like the origin of the show. They're like, it's like a Russian high-speed suit because it can take the friction or whatever. But
yeah.
I
guess so. I guess I'll segue to like the new Batman game from TellTale. I started playing it today. It was pretty good.
Oh, did it? How long did it take to download?
Not bad. Maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe. It's 2 gigs. It's
Oh, that's not bad at all.
It's not a full game like yet. It's just episode 1. But I played for probably 45 minutes, and I didn't feel like I was very far into episode 1 even. So I imagine there's probably, maybe 2 hours, 2+ hours of it. And it was $5. So like $5. It's great.
That's a great point.
But if you've ever played
What's the mechanics of it? Is it just like a RPG, or like what do you?
It's not even like an RPG.
Arkham...
You know those books you read as a kid where it's like, if you decide to do this, turn to page 34. If you want to do this instead, turn to page...
Choose your own adventure.
It's exactly what it is. So like every decision that you make in the game, like there'll be a conversation and you have like 3 or 4 different responses that you can choose, and each response will elicit a different storyline. So you could play that game alongside, like, you and I could be playing it and have two totally different stories going on in each game. And then
That's awesome. Yeah, so it's more like a interactive movie then.
it really
game.
is. Yeah, it's very expositional. Where often you're kind of just sitting there watching. And I would say that, like, okay, the sound design, like, is very good. You know, you're at, like, a dinner party and you hear chatter in the background, little things clanging around. The voice acting, I would say, is, like, pretty good that I've experienced so far. It's not great. It's pretty good. Batman uses a voice modulator in it, so his voice sounds kind of cool. It's kind of, reminiscent of Batman versus Superman.
I like that direction they're going in.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Versus
Where's Ricky? Whoa.
Yeah, right. And the gameplay mechanics are interesting. Like, when you're in combat, again, it's kind of like watching a movie, and it's all timed button combinations and stuff like that. Like press up, press A and X together.
Context sensitive.
Yeah. Yeah, and that'll determine, like, whether or not you punch somebody or you get punched. So it's pretty fun. I wouldn't say that, like, it's a must play, but it's a cool Batman story for $5. Like, that's pretty much the price of a comic book, and you get to, like, and it looks like a comic book. Like, the art style of it looks like a comic book.
Yeah, it's cel shaded and stuff. It looked really nice.
Yeah, it's cool.
I remember seeing, because, like, when they gave us, like, 3 pictures, they're like, I want to see more. This looks so good. And then they just released the game instead of just giving us a trailer.
I hate to say it, but it's like, it looks like Archer. And I don't mean I hate to say it. It's just like Archer looks.
I like Archer.
That's what I'm saying. Archer looks cool. But, I mean, I guess I would say, like, Archer's animation style.
If you like Archer when he's this way, that would be amazing. Just like, Alfred! Like, Alfred. Why don't he just treats Alfred like, what's Archer's butler's name? I forget.
Oh, gosh. I can't remember.
You should do a comedy. It'd be like Lego Batman, but in better looking or something,
Yeah.
Which, isn't that interesting? They're making a Lego Batman movie? That's pretty awesome. Like,
it is awesome.
Did they just took that concept and with it.
Did you see the trailer for it?
The trailer?
Yeah.
I don't think I liked it as much as the internet liked it. I'm going to go see it. It looks good.
I didn't like the
trailer. Because he was a great
trailer.
character in the Lego movie, too.
Yeah, I didn't like the trailer at all, but I don't think that's... Well, here's an interesting segue. I like the trailer for Suicide Squad, but it's not getting very good reviews. So I don't know if liking the trailer is an indication of a movie being good or not. All right.
You know what? I bet your segue is Suicide Squad.
Yeah, so
or any segues in the movie Suicide Squad, because apparently it's a jumbled mess. So
yeah, it tends to be that way. So we haven't seen it, in full disclosure. We haven't seen it yet. So it's unfair for us to kind of... This is not our review of it, because we can't review something we haven't seen.
It's like our review of the internet's reviews and opinions of it.
Exactly. So Rotten... This is a funny story. So Rotten Tomatoes currently has Suicide Squad at 31%. And there's an internet petition that started today to shut down Rotten Tomatoes. And that's hilarious, because Rotten Tomatoes isn't like one thing. It's like everybody's review score aggregated to a number.
I don't even know if it's someone inputting that or if it's just like automatically updated, It's just, you can't always have what you want. Like, just because these are movie critics out there, that's all it does is, like, it generates some score based on their reviews, right? So it has to make them all the same scale, and then it just publishes it.
I think the way that it works is, like, it's a 1 through 10 rating, and if a critic gives it a 5 or less, it's considered a bad review. If you get a 6 or better, it's considered a good review.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, I don't care to go into the science of Rotten Tomatoes and how their algorithms or formulas work. Like, so I'll agree, sure.
Yeah.
There's some sort of system, yeah. But the fact that they think that's a conspiracy is ridiculous. And also, the movie hasn't come out yet, so like all these people that are mad at it, like are they going to eat their words when they go see the movie?
Yeah, what if the movie is terrible?
That's not great. Yeah. Then you're like, can I take my name off that petition? Like, no, you can't. You already signed.
Yeah, you look stupid now.
Yeah. I wish we could like publish the petition and be like, just go email it. Did you like it? Did you like it? Did you like it? What do you think? Did you like it? And they're like, no, I'm sorry I signed the petition. Like,
it was knee jerk. I apologize for my haste.
They would say it like that too, just like in comic book voice. I apologize for my haste. It was inappropriate at the time.
My attempts to shut down Rotten Tomatoes were futile.
Perfect.
But so the other thing about review scores is that that's one person's opinion. And in this case, it's actually a lot of people's opinion. But ultimately, you are allowed to have your own opinion. And you can go to the movie. And if you enjoy the movie, like just because other people didn't like it doesn't mean that it's a like bad movie for you. Like there's probably plenty of bad movies that got really bad review scores that I like.
Yeah, and there's things called cult films that like people just like them for some reason. Like,
yeah,
people still gravitate no matter what the critics say, and that's fine.
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, I don't get it, but people like it.
But a lot of people like it. Yeah,
yeah. People have like festivals and viewing parties to this day about it. Like younger people, it's just like, what? How do you know about this movie? This came out like before my time, and I didn't even get into it. Like, anyway, like it's just like a thing. It's almost like coincides with Halloween. People are like, we have to have a costume party and watch Rocky Horror Picture Show just because it's a thing people do. I'm like, okay,
right, right.
But like, yeah, it's not my thing. Some things aren't for everybody. That isn't that part of being a nerd and a comic book nerd. It's not for everyone. You just
yeah. I mean, Dungeons and Dragons, comic books, movies, video games. Not everybody's into that stuff, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing if you are. Like clearly we are, but
yeah.
Obviously, we are. We talk about it every week and record it and put it on the internet for everybody to listen to.
We're not nerds. We just thought we like something so much we'd make a podcast that no one's listening to. and doing it. But, yeah.
Yeah. So, but the interesting thing that came out today that I thought was like just more shit on DC, and I'm at the point now where like I feel bad for them. But the thing that came out today was that there was two cuts of the movie. One was like a more lighthearted movie, which was not David Ayer's original like script and kind of tone of the movie, and then the other was his version. And they screened both of those for audiences, and audience kind of gravitated to the more lighthearted, funny, colorful kind of thing, and so they kind of met this like compromise and smashed the two together, and we get like a very radical different movie from what I'm from what
I hope that's not as detailed as they did. It's like, well, just smash them together and out this
people like this one better than yours, but yours is already done, so we'll just make like the half a movie we made with yours, and that's it. There was a pretty radical shift, I think, in the color of like the promotional materials are extremely colorful, and I don't know that it was originally looking like that. It's maybe not as dramatic as like the Thor Ragnarok that went like American Gladiators font and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I thought it was kind of everything you see of it now. It's like rainbow. Like there's literally a thing I saw. It was like it looks like a bowl of Lucky Charms. It was kind of like alphabet cereal or whatever. But it's like
another cereal.
Yeah, nice. It's like colorful marshmallows and stuff. Yeah,
Fruit Loops colors your milk more than Lucky Charms. You could have said another cereal.
No, but they had like marshmallow letters and it spelled out Suicide Squad.
Oh, okay, I take it back.
So it truly was Lucky Charms. I
was tasteful in my review of your cereal reference. I apologize.
Apologize for my haste.
You know what? If they did mail it in, I could see the things they mailed in. Like how the trailers for it have been awesome, but you remember how like the first Fun trailer came out?
Yes.
And they had the music.
With Queen.
But like it's all the soundtrack from Wayne's World 2. So like I wonder if like they just mailed that in. It's just like, oh, this is fun music. Like they didn't even like do their own music research like Guardians of the Galaxy did to find like forgotten songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
That-
great but
right.
older. Yeah,
Yeah.
like golden oldies kind of thing. Yeah.
But they're just like, just copy that other movie's soundtrack. It's fun, funny movie people like. So, let's
Well,
just do-
so the first trailer that came out was that really slow song by, oh gosh, I don't remember who it was by, but it was like, what's the title of the song? Something about a joke is part of the title of the song. It was really slow and kind of
remember
like
any of the lyrics or not?
melancholy. No, just type in like first suicide. See, this is the show prep that we do.
Yeah.
We show prep it while we're doing it.
Well, you just wondered that just now. We could.
I know, right? That's fair. Yeah, the very first one is
Would it be teaser trailer then?
yeah, maybe. Let's find out together. Let's learn as a group. It's okay. So it was originally by the Bee Gees. It was a slower.
Keep it coming up, keep it coming. That's
It wasn't that song. It was "I Started a Joke" by the Bee Gees, but it was a more like melancholy version. But then the second one goes to Bohemian Rhapsody, which is a radical change from one to another. And then I think the third one was Ballroom Blitz.
yeah.
And
Dude, I'm watching a trailer from July 13th of last year, and it's really serious. And the song is like operatic, like
yeah,
sad.
right. That was the first.
That's the one you're
one.
talking about? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they totally changed the.
That's what I'm saying. So we'll do a full Suicide Squad review.
It doesn't even have the fun logo and colors either.
Right, that's what I'm
That's
saying. Like I think that they were going one direction with it, and then that's when the Batman versus Superman reviews came out back in March, and they were like, "Oh shit, this is exactly what we made with Suicide Squad." And they're like, "No big deal. We got this. We got 5 months to fix it. Let's go." And then now we've got two halves of movies.
Is Suicide Squad the movie that they're like, oh, they're reshooting it so it's bad.
Yes.
And they're like, well, obviously they're adding more comedy because of the backlash. And
Yeah,
then
that
they're
was
like, no, we're adding more action scenes. The comedy is already in there.
Exactly.
Remember that?
That was April, May that they were doing
just
those
lying to us.
reshoots.
The reshoots are just like Harley Quinn throwing pies at people and stuff.
It's like the zany stuff from like the
Yeah.
Batman animated series.
Yeah.
Just practical joking.
Give her a giant mallet and she'll smash someone with it.
Make sure the Joker. Actually, I saw in one of the still images that that shot of Jared Leto laying down with all those knives and guns and stuff pointed at him. There is a gun that has the little bang flag that comes out of it.
Nice.
In the pile of guns, there's that gun there. So
I can't wait to show you my toys.
that's good. That was good.
He does look really cool. I really want to see it. I know, and this is from the trailer. There was a thing that he was talking about nailing his laugh, and like he would just go out in public and test different laughs, and then see which one like made people cringe. And he's like, "Yeah, that's how I got down." It's like, ah, 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 ah. There's like an interview floating around, but like I thought it was funny. Like Jared Leto just going around like, "Nope."
Nope, not the right one.
Nope. No. Okay. Just like
Just
he's
working
in
it out.
diners and stuff, making people uncomfortable.
Just working through it. Yeah. I don't know. I guess my hope now is that like if the movie's not great, I hope that it's at least like I hope that all the characters are really good. Like even if the story's a little disjointed or whatever, I hope that like it's cast well, and that I like everybody in their role, and then they can be used in future movies that hopefully are squared away. And let's not forget too that
I do too. I don't want this movie to fail or be bad. No one wants it to be. Everyone is mad just because they want it to be good, you know.
right.
We'll see. I did. Apparently, the Joker's supposed to be amazing in it. Batman's in a lot, supposedly. So we'll see.
Yeah. Are you going to see it
and the other
tomorrow's Thursday? Are you going to see it tomorrow, or are you going to see it over the weekend?
ooh, possibly, because is there a chance? Because all the reviews are bad that no one will want to see it with me over the weekend, But what about yourself? What do you think?
I'm probably going to go see it Thursday by myself.
Yeah, it's best to see it by yourself and tell no one that you saw it.
Right. And they're like, hey, did you see that Suicide Squad? No, I don't know if I'm going to check that one out. I might wait for video.
Said it was bad, so I didn't see it because I listened.
Do you ever drag anybody to a movie that like got less than stellar review scores, and then you felt kind of bad? You made them watch a terrible movie because you're a nerd.
Yeah,
and you really
it was Batman v Superman. And I felt bad.
Who'd you take with you?
My buddy Eric. He's more into indie comics and stuff. Like he used to read DC and Marvel when he was younger, but like he's just super into just indie stuff, horror type stuff. He's real sarcastic and shit most of the time. He's one of those super sarcastic people.
Yeah, I've never heard of those.
And so I was surprised when he was like, "Yeah, I'll go see it with you," and like he like half the time he just like looked at me. But then like we were watching with the aliens came in, and I was like, "Oh, what are those guys?" Like, "Oh, those are parademons." Like, wait a second, how do you know those are parademons and I don't? Then like, what the just so
he was educating you.
Yeah,
he's just a closet DC fan.
Yeah,
like
I think so. He really wanted to see it, and he was looking for an excuse to go see it.
Yeah, he like prompts you about it. Like, hey, Lucky, I'm not doing anything Friday. What are you up to? Like knowing that you're going to the movie.
The weekend of it, yeah.
Yeah.
But then I took a buddy who's not a comic book guy at all to Captain America: Civil War, and he liked it. And that was a good movie, so I didn't feel bad about that. But. Did you ever take someone to a knowingly or unknowingly bad movie and feel bad about it?
I don't know.
You have a wife, so I feel like it's a lot of movies.
She's kind of like she kind of has to come with me by default. I've been trying to go see the new Ghostbusters, but she doesn't want to go. So I'm like, well, shit, I'm gonna have to go see it by myself.
Why not? What's her qualm with it?
I don't know. I think she went to Comic-Con, so she's like overloaded on that stuff right now. She's like, I need a break.
It's too much for a normal person.
I need
just
a break.
like, ugh.
Yeah, I think I need a break.
It's not bad, the new Ghostbusters. I don't see why everyone was so negative about it.
Yeah, you said you liked it. I was.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say like I called it, but I mean when the trailer came out. We talked about it on the show here, and I was like, hey, I like that trailer. I think it's going to be great. And the internet shit all over it, and it was the most disliked video in YouTube history. Yet, I thought it looked cool. I was like, yeah, this looks good.
You know why that happened? Because
it's girls as Ghostbusters, and they ruined everybody's childhood.
Well, yeah, and then think about who has the time to comment on a YouTube. How many times do you actually click unlike on a YouTube video? Like,
I usually
you know
just
what
click
I mean?
away from it.
Do you
like
ever even click thumbs up or thumbs down? But the people that do that are,
actually,
it's mostly of lonely men who lived with their parents or something.
Lucky, I would love it if people would click thumbs up on our videos on YouTube. Actually,
oh, I would too. That would be great. What does that do? Does that do anything?
I don't know. In to quote the Canadian Prime Minister from South Park, we want more money. I think like the more likes and subscribers and stuff that you get like advertisers and stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, if you want this podcast to continue, fucking thumbs that shit up. Right?
Right.
Fucking do it. So Suicide Squad. So yeah, go see it, and if you like it, then who cares what the critics say?
Yeah. Just you think it's worth your money, go see it. Like whatever.
And we'll have our full blown out review sometime.
We'll have one next week. Let's do
week.
it. Let's see it over the weekend, and we'll talk about it. So
sounds good.
Cool.
You know what I want to talk about?
What do you want to talk about?
Stranger Things.
I couldn't wait to talk about Stranger Things.
Me too. So like flat out, like we kind of posted on Instagram and Twitter earlier today before the show that we would be reviewing it, but like, spoiler alert, is a 10 out of 10. Like,
Yeah.
no question.
Oh yeah. Also, like, I don't know how. So like, Netflix just does a thing where they just like, there was no hype for this show, and
don't
like,
you love and hate Netflix for that?
I kind of like it because I heard about it from my buddy. He's like deep into Reddit. He's like, everyone's talking about this movie on this show on Reddit, so apparently we all have to watch it, and we did, and it was good. But like, there was no ads for it. Like, I guess Netflix isn't gonna pay for commercials, or like, I don't know if they can air commercials on their own thing. But like, who knew this was like a project people were working on? It's because there's like a few stars in it, but it's like, man, this came out all like left field and was just awesome. Like,
Yeah.
you have anything to add to that aspect?
It was kind of crackly, but no, I mean, I just you told me about it. You know what's weird is actually I saw a bill. So I was out in California for Comic-Con last week when this
You were at
came out.
Comic-Con when it came out,
and I actually saw a billboard for it, and it was kind of like the billboard was kind of like the boys on their bicycles with their little flashlight headlamps kind of things, and that's like all it was, and said Stranger Things on Netflix, and I was like, and actually out there, like around here, Northeast Ohio, and like in your region, like in Buffalo, like it's not every day or very often that you see a bunch of billboards for movies. But obviously in LA, where it's kind of like the epicenter of all that stuff, it's probably more common because you saw billboards for every movie.
Oh.
Like Suicide Squad was everywhere. But there was a Stranger Things billboard.
I don't know if it's a West Coast thing, but like billboards are huge out there because like I visited my buddy in San Francisco and I saw a billboard for Seinfeld, as if people had forgotten that Seinfeld was a thing.
Like the number one sitcom of all time.
So, just like it's still on TBS. You can watch it again. See your favorite characters. I don't know. But.
So Stranger Things, you let me know about it, and then we talked about it on our podcast, and I watched the first episode, and after watching the first episode, I'm like, wow, this is a pretty cool show. And then, I was like, yeah, it's going to be good and everything. And then I watched the second episode, and from the second episode all the way to the end, I'm like, this show is freaking incredible, and I just couldn't stop watching it.
It took me a while to get into it, and then I was just going to watch the first episode casually. And then it just hit all the right things for me. I was just like instantly hooked. I was like, I'm into this, and then that was my weekend. So
for me, I don't like scary stuff at all, and I wouldn't say that this is like really scary, but it's suspenseful, and there are some definite horror elements in it. So for me to not only have watched it, but like want to have watched it, is a testament to how good it is. And you mentioned on our last show how good the actors are in it, and it's like a bunch of kids, and they're fantastic. I think that they're amazing.
Yeah.
And then like even like Winona Ryder, that you haven't seen in anything since forever, was awesome. The guy that plays
she's
Hopper,
great. Like it's like they all look like the parts they play.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, she does seem like a single mom just trying to raise two boys, and like, she's a little stressed out and stuff, and like it does look like a cop is just seeing too many rough things or bad things happen to him and stuff. It's just great.
Well, and the way that they start the show, it's typical like introduction setup and all that stuff, but like they don't tell everybody's backstory, so you kind of get that through a lot of flashbacks through the 8 episodes of the season. And Hopper's especially,
yeah, I love that, and it gets more so towards the end and everything.
Yeah. So I don't know, like I don't know if you want to go like episode by episode, but like through the series, like, well, I don't know. So we'll do full spoilers, right? I guess.
Full spoilers.
Again, non-spoiler review
Been out
is
for
that
like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, like shame on you if you haven't watched it yet. It's the phenomenon sweeping the nation.
I mean, we could talk about non-spoiler stuff we like about it real quick too.
Okay, sure.
I mean, I have a few things
Yeah, go
I
for
like
it.
about it. I remember I've already mentioned, but like, I like all the houses and environments. Like, I like how their house is like disheveled, looks like lived in. You know, like the old Roseanne show. Like,
Yeah.
it looked like a real house from the '80s. And like, you know, the boys are in and out and stuff, and then, you know, the richer family has a nicer house. It really looked like some small town in Indiana. I don't even know if it's based on a real town or anything, but and then I love all the sci-fi stuff and like how they like eventually mix in the conspiracy theory stuff. They do this. Well, that's kind of a spoiler, so I'll save it for when we get to that episode. But did you have anything you wanted to say then too? Or
Well, yeah, I mean, you mentioned it's very Steven Spielberg-esque, and it really is. You know, it's like the good old days of I don't want to say America, but it's like our world, the culture. I don't know, but like, you know, like
when America was great.
yeah, when America was great previously. But it's, you know, it's kids riding bikes. It's like the neighborhood kids. It was nostalgic from that perspective of like, you know, they're playing in the woods, and it's like I grew up in an area where like we had woods and we rode our bikes to our friend's house, and like that's what we did. And you know, I don't think we had walkie-talkies, but you know, we built forts, and they had a fort in the woods and all that stuff, and it's just like it was exactly like my childhood. And again, like the horror elements, I just thought were really well done. You know, for being like a new show on Netflix, you would assume like low budget probably, so the effects are maybe not the best, but I thought they were serviceable. I thought it was like, you know, obviously there's a monster in it, and the monster was like, you know, looked pretty good and was believable and everything. So I thought like because you can have a really good story, and then you get like bad special effects, and it's kind of like all that immersion that you went through with really good storytelling just goes away because now you've got terrible effects that make it look bad.
Oh, here's an example. Signs. Remember seeing Signs for the first time?
Right.
It's a fucking great movie. Great movie till you see the alien, and then they do the water thing, which, I mean, it still has an end. The ending still makes sense, but like when they didn't show the alien is when that movie was the best. When you just heard it creep and walk around, it's like, who is that? Is it one of the Jones boys or whatever? And like you see flashes of it, or they show like the one video from that birthday party. That's when it was best. But then like their alien just looked weird, and the CGI wasn't great when they showed it. But like in this one, it was good. Like you said, it was serviceable. I guess it looks like a modern thing you could go see at the movies. Or maybe one from maybe like 5 years ago, but it still looked good. It holds up. Like it didn't take me out of it when they saw it, when you saw the monster.
Well, and this is a minor spoiler, but it doesn't like ruin anything. So if you've not seen it, this won't really ruin it. But there's a part in, I think, like the third episode or the second episode where Jonathan is taking pictures in the woods of like the people at the party, and I knew. Like right then, I'm like, he's gonna take a picture, and when he develops it, he's gonna find the monster or something in the shadows, like lurking in it. And of course, he did. And yeah, there's just cool stuff like that throughout. That's like there's a set that is a dark room, and like dark rooms are just naturally scary places. And the buyer's household, like you said, like they're like kind of like the lower income household, and that's where a lot of kind of like paranormal, supernatural things take place in the show. So I felt like it kind of just had this like weird vibe about it all the time, and so it made some of those like horror elements really kind of stand out. You know, the premise, like the general premise, if you've not seen it, is like this kid disappears, and they go on this search for him to find him, and he's kind of I won't spoil where he's gone to, but he's gone, and while he's gone, though, he can communicate back with people, and there were things. Let's get into spoilers. Can we just do that? Because that's fucking hard to talk about.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah,
okay, so the show's fucking awesome.
Yeah, let's go.
It's supernatural. It's horror. It's drama. It's suspense. It's really good. So spoiler stuff. Yeah, there was like I got goosebumps at so many different points, and probably because I was like scared, and then I'd be like happy about something, or like something great would happen, like how Will would or not Will. Yeah, Will, right? The kid that disappears.
Yeah, Will Byer.
Yeah, how he communicated with his mom through the lights. When she first figured out that
was such a magical scene. Yeah.
I loved it. Like when she was like,
Makes like
blink.
a pseudo Ouija board.
Yeah, but like even the first time when she's just like everybody thinks she's crazy and lost her marbles, and she's kind of like like you said, the disheveled single mom trying to hold it down for her two boys, and then her son goes missing, and of course now it's like, oh my God, look at her, she's crazy. She thinks that he's talking to her through lights. And, he actually was. And so when she finally rigs that up and she's holding that ball of lights and she's like, blink once if you can hear me or if you're alive or something, and it flashes once, I was like, oh my God, like I was almost to the point of like tears. It was like so awesome.
Oh, yeah. Do you know that's like a real thing ghost hunters do?
Oh, really?
So you take it's like a special kind of flashlight, and so you unscrew it so like it just like touches the battery or something. So the way to disprove it is like it just lights up randomly, but
right.
Like they'll be like, if you're here, make the light blink once, and like it'll shine on, or like make it blink twice for no, you know what I mean? So
right.
Like it's kind of like a real ghost hunter thing people use. So it was kind of a cool nod to that, I think.
Yeah, but so she asked the question, like, are you okay? Or she asked the question, blink once if you can hear me or you talk to me or whatever the question was, and it blinks once. But then she's like, blink, or if you're alive. And then she's like, blink two if you're okay, if you're safe. And or blink one if you're safe, and it blinks twice. Like, no, he's not safe.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck.
No.
Yeah, I was like, oh, God.
You feel like the urgency of like a helpless mother too, like just trying to find her kid and like hoping he's okay and stuff. So you're like in it with her. It's just
oh yeah. Did you get right away where he was or like where he had gone to?
No, because I was like, did it eat him? I was like, because even that's a mystery to me now. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because everyone else it ate, but him is just like, did he have a struggle with it? And like, he just went into its dimension. You know what I mean? Because he has like the 22 aimed at it,
right?
And then it comes from behind and gets him. So like, did it just like bear hug and grab him to his dimension, or you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Or did it try to eat him and he fought it off? Because like everyone else, it eats the dead things and stuff. Or maybe it didn't eat him because he was alive and uninjured. You know what I mean?
It didn't at first eat. Who was the girl? Not Nancy. Barb. Yeah. It took Barb to the dimension first and then ate.
Okay.
So I think it takes it there. Yeah, that might be the process, right? It takes it to that world and then it eats it.
Can I talk about Barb real quick, or should I wait?
No, Barb's a big thing now. Like, there's a lot of...
Oh, everyone else is talking about her, too?
Yeah, they're pissed.
Wait, because she's a girl that died? Or
yeah.
Well, what are people saying? Because this is what I want to say.
They're like, why did you kill Barb? What the hell? And so the guys that created the show, the Duffer brothers, Matt and Ross, they just did an interview with IGN, like, today or the day before, and they said, we had no idea Barb would have this like huge impact on people. She has like 6 scenes in the entire series, and people are like, what'd you do killing off Barb? So what is your thoughts?
Well, okay, I'll save my thing, but this is why people are upset, because she's like a good person. She didn't hurt anyone. So
right.
Like it's confusing when you kill the good people, because like at one point I thought Nancy's boyfriend was going to get eaten, or his shitty friends. You know what I mean? Because you're like, yeah, those guys get their comeuppance.
Yeah.
They deserved it,
Right.
But, like, Barb is, like, a good character, so you're like, oh, man, she's just an innocent bystander. But this is my qualm about Barb, or I guess it's not a qualm, but, like, so Will Byers disappears. And everyone's like, oh, man, where's Will? We gotta find him and shit. And, like,
yeah.
They don't stop to the body. But, like, Barb just disappears and no one cares. Her mom is like, isn't she at your house? She told me she's going to be at your house. She's like, yeah, Yeah, you know what? Yeah, she just slept over, so I don't know where she is. Like, no, the cops don't look for Barb at all. They're just,
Right.
she's just like, oh, also Barb, whatever. We're still looking for Will. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have time for Barb, or like they don't piece it together. Like, why does this town have two missing people? And in the same week, the guy killed himself. There's a weird girl showing. No one is like, there's all these things happening at once. They're just like, well, Will Byers missing, and
The biggest thing that I was saying throughout the like 8 episodes is like, dude, if everybody would just talk to one another, they'd have this figured out pretty quickly.
yeah.
Because they're like, you know, Nancy had been to the other dimension or whatever and seen it. You know, Hopper knew that there was a conspiracy at the lab. You know, Joyce, Winona Ryder's character, knew that she could talk to Will. The boys knew about Eleven's powers. It's like, dude, if everybody could just get together, like, we could solve this out in minutes. But of course, that doesn't make for a very compelling show.
This is also a kind of funny thing. My buddy, we were watching the first episode, he was talking about it. He's like, none of this would work today. You'd all have cell phones, so you could text each other and shit.
Yeah.
Like, they have the phones that don't work and the walkie-talkies and stuff.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, I gotta talk to my friend. Let me ride my bike over to his house. Like, that's the most efficient form of communication for him.
But that's why I feel bad for Barb, because no one cared about her.
Yeah, and I'm with you. Like, Barb never did anything bad, and she was the voice of reason when Nancy was in her little teen rebellion phase, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, being a grown-up, respectable adult, I'm like, yeah, Barb! But I bet as a kid, I would have been like, fuck you, Barb, let Nancy ride, you know?
Yeah, everyone treated Barb like shit. She was just like a good friend. That's all she did in the movie.
Yeah.
And then, like, Nancy's like, you know what, Barb, why don't you just wait outside? Will you wait till I'm done fucking this guy? Come deal with you later. And
So-
then, like, I'm not even going to look for you that hard. I just know you're missing, and I'm going to keep it a secret because I don't want anyone to find out I fucked this dude.
What did you think about Steve?
Oh, Steve's the guy's name?
Yeah.
It's kind of cool because you hate him at first, and then it's like he redeems himself.
Yeah,
you know
I
what
felt the
mean?
same way. I was because he shows up in the last episode, and it's almost kind of comedic when he shows up.
Thought he's gonna get eaten.
I thought so
no,
too.
at the end, the very end, you're talking about.
No, like when he shows up, like they're sitting there, they're ready. Nancy and Jonathan are sitting. Yeah, they're holding all these weapons, and they've got the house booby trapped, like Home Alone style. Yeah. And
nice reference.
And then, that's what I was thinking the whole time. The way they were setting everything up, they had their plan.
Those
it was
paint cans on that staircase. The monsters really hate that.
Yeah, the Matchbox cars go over there. But yeah, Steve shows up like right when they're. I think things starting to light up, and that's when Steve shows up.
They're like, "Get out of here, Steve! You don't."
And he's like, "Hey, what's going on in there? Why do you have a gun? What's going on?" And he like bursts in, and it's like, "Steve, you're out of your element, dude. You don't even know it's about to go down." And then I'm like, "Oh, dude, Steve's gonna get eaten for sure."
Oh, I thought they were gonna shoot him, or he's gonna get eaten. Because like, oh no, Steve's bad, but he doesn't deserve this. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then, know what's going on.
And then, like, all the way at the end, to obviously he helped them, and he was, a big part of them surviving and everything. But he also, like, buys the camera and has Nancy give it to Jonathan, like, for Christmas. Yeah. I thought that was...
he is the real hero of the story. It's about his fall from grace and his redemption. He, he's just banging chicks, and, like, he's this sly guy, and he's got these, his buddy, his little gang there of just assholes. And then,
and he bails on them.
Yeah, and, like, it's almost like She's the One movies where he's like the asshole that loses a bet and he has to date the goody girl, but then he falls in love with her, and like that's kind of what happened. Like, I really like her, and then he stopped being a jerk. He gets the guy the camera.
So not in a bad way, not in a bad way, but there is a little bit of like buzz around this series, borrowing heavily from Spielberg and from John Carpenter and from like those 80s movies gone by, like Stand By Me and things like that.
Yeah, and I don't think it's
Goonies.
a secret. I don't think they'd...
Yeah, I mean...
I think you ask them, be like, yeah, we totally we love those movies. That's why I made it.
That's exactly what they said. They're like, oh, is that like a bad thing? That like we homaged the things that we loved, and
They Tarantino'd it. It's just that we're in the generation of we also saw those movies.
Right.
Whereas like a Tarantino movie, we're like, I don't know what he's referencing, but it's pretty cool. But like,
it was shit from the 50s.
At all. Yeah.
Yeah, in the 60s, 70s, yeah.
We're just old now, so we realize what they also like. So like, it's not as cool to us.
Right. Yeah, so I don't want to jump too far ahead because there's probably things throughout that we should talk about. What did you think about Fake Will? That was like in episode 4.
I thought it was so ballsy when he like stabs it.
Dude, I thought so too. Like, you better be really sure that that's not actually him, because you're about to stick a knife through this guy.
But also, he's probably like, well, I'm a cop, and if they did the autopsy, would have to cut him open anyways.
Right.
So like, maybe he was also like, he should have been cut up already, but he wasn't. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
He was an educated guess.
That was where. So I didn't know how I felt about Hopper either. Up until probably about that episode, because he was helpful, but he was also kind of like begrudgingly the chief. He was like, yeah. Whatever.
There's a distance between him and everyone.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, he wakes up in the morning and he like pops some pills and washes it down with a beer that's on his nightstand, and he's like that's how he's kind of introduced.
Which,
and like,
by the way, I know we're both not alcoholics, but have you ever done that? Like,
I'll be honest with you.
Scenario.
Yeah.
Woke up having a beer first thing, and then what were you on?
Oh no, not first thing in the morning. No,
Yeah.
I just remember waking up one morning and there was a beer on my nightstand that I had like taken to bed with me, and I'm like, wow, rough night.
Did you have it for breakfast though? Like...
No, fuck no. You?
No, maybe on like spring break if you.
Sure, like a cold one, not like one that was there from the night
not
before.
Just like, this is the most refreshing drink I can think of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep this buzz going. I don't know.
But yeah, so I thought he was maybe like low life, trashy. They did have this kind of like narrative going on where maybe he was like a ladies' man that played people a little too much. Cause, like,
because a librarian.
And Joyce too. Yeah, they clearly had a thing at some point. So that was all kind of like a little underlying theme of the show. So I didn't know about that, but that same episode with the fake will, that's where, the chief goes in and he like punches the guy and goes into the autopsy room and checks out Will.
Dude, he's a badass. He's like Batman. He gets his way into that secured government facility,
right?
And then later when they find the kids, he Batmans those like
he just rolls out
government dudes. He doesn't shoot them or anything. He's just like you don't see it. It's off camera, but it's like, man, he just Batman the fuck out of those.
Wait,
guys.
when
they're on the bus and
yes,
the bus,
I love that one.
Those agents are about to get in, and he just like he's knocking. I don't know if he's pistol whipping them or something, but
that was one of my favorite moments too. I took a note about that. That was in episode 7, the bathtub.
Oh, your favorite moment? You didn't know what I was talking about? Oh, you do have it. Hopper saves the kids on the bus.
Yeah. There you go. You see it. But episode 4 was also where Jonathan develops that.
Yeah, that was my favorite scene.
Yeah, I just updated it. But that's where we also see the photo kind of reveal the monster. But you can't really see it. It's very dark. But you can just see kind of like the outline of a shadow. And
that's kind of like a thing too. Like people, there's been like there's like a list. I don't know if it's a meme, but like a list, just like 10 weirdest pictures of all times. And like you see like a ghost in the background, and they're like, that guy. He was dead when this picture was taken, but somehow he's in this team picture and stuff. You know what I'm talking about or not?
Yeah.
Or like there's a family picture, and like, who's this lady in the background? No one knows, and like it's kind of faded. So I think that was kind of a cool little thing too.
Yeah, and again, it's not like super. It's not because I was thinking like I'm like, oh, I hope that they don't. It's not super obvious that it's the monster, and it's not like it's like hidden in the shadows. In the 5th episode, Hopper breaks into that facility. It was like an energy facility or whatever. And he finds the portal to like that other dimension. but then they like tase him.
Oh,
And then,
I know what you're gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought it was hilarious when he wakes up and he's going through his place. Wait, say that again?
Oh,
Yeah, like when Hopper's in the portal area there, it looks like the alien's there, and he draws his gun.
Yeah.
You think it's going to attack him, but then it's just the guys. They do a lot of cool transitions like that. I guess that one's not really a transition, but I guess like a fake out.
Yeah, like, I don't know.
But then other times they do a
Switcheroo.
transition in the next scene where, yeah, it's like he shoots a gun or something. The next shot is like a TV with a bullet hole in it, or them like playing with a walkie-talkie or something like that. It's like really well shot. That's all.
Yeah,
Edited or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had something in my throat just now. I thought I was gonna.
Oh, I thought you were just caught because you got really excited about something you were gonna say. Like, you were like, oh, I gotta say this thing.
No, I had throat issues. Just bodily functions failing me. Don't worry about it. It was great though. Like he gets sedated and then he wakes up and he just starts going like, trashing his place.
Yeah, he knows exactly what's going on. They try to make it look like, you junkie, look at all your pills around and stuff.
Yeah.
Junkie again. He's like, no, I know what the fuck's going on. That's me. Tears his whole apartment apart.
But my favorite part was it was like the very last place he looked was where it was.
Yeah. Everything.
That like he's probably really regretting that he trashed everything and looked there last.
There first.
Yeah.
Damn
damn. And that's also where the boys talk to their science teacher, which like science AV teacher. I don't know what teacher he was, but I thought he was awesome. Trying to remember his name, Mr. Clark.
Oh, go ahead.
He's like that teacher that you had that was like a buddy to you almost.
Really cared about the kids and stuff.
Yeah. And I was thinking something was going to happen to him.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, we like him too much. Something bad's gonna, or like when they interviewed him, you thought they were gonna shoot him. Or
yeah,
something
remember when the lady shows up to the house and she's from that government facility, and she's like, "Oh, I'm here on behalf of the Indiana AV Club, and we're doing this thing." And she was ultimately there to get like information on the kids and 11 and stuff like that. But I was thinking, man, he might be collateral damage, and I really hope, because we had just seen Barb die, so I'm like, they very well could kill this guy off too, and I liked him a lot.
Because other horror movies they'll do that. They'll just kill innocent people left or right.
Yeah, 10 people will die. So I was pumped they didn't kill him, but he was awesome.
One of my favorite things about Mr. Clark they did is they do this in every movie. Every time they want to explain other dimensions or like warp travel. Is
the bug?
They take well, no, not the bug. Before that, they like take the piece of paper and it's like, what if it's always like, how they say the fastest way to get from one place to the other is a straight line, right? But what if you fold the paper and then they throw the pencil in it? Yeah. I think the first time I saw that was Event Horizon. Oh. And then it's just been in every movie where they explain interdimensional travel and shit. It's like, what if we bent the plane and went right through
and go right through it. Like, then you get from A to B in half the time. What about shit, I had a thought and I can't remember it. I was just gonna go back and say this was the point that I was gonna say during our non-spoiler portion that I wanted to kind of hold on to. But when 11 first shows up and she's in the basement and they have their Dungeons and Dragons like board set up, and she points to the wizard and she's like, Will. And so you're like, okay, so this, because she was very limited in her communication early in the series, and so she points to it, she's like, Will. And so I'm like, all right, that little wizard is representative of Will. And she takes the board where you've got terrain and visual cues that like it's normal, and she flips it over, and on the it was black on the back side of the board like all boards are. But I'm like, why would she flip that over? And I'm like, oh, he's in like a different dimension or some sort of like thing. that he can still communicate with the lights and stuff, and that was pretty clear to me. And then she throws the Demogorgon on the board too, and like, you know, he's in trouble. And I was like, oh shit. So I just thought that was cool too, just a way of like visualizing that.
Do you think they were like inspired by? They had to have been like inspired by like Interstellar a little bit.
Yeah,
where,
probably,
like,
right? Because he's communicating
interacting,
with the books.
yeah, with gravity or whatever. Yeah,
Or well, it wasn't with books, was it?
it was with books. He's
Oh, that's
well,
right.
he was pushing the book over. Yeah, it was.
And then, was there dust on the floor or something that
Yes,
he wrote
there was
letters
dust.
or something? I can't remember. I haven't seen Interstellar. That's a good movie.
Both of those
though.
things are right.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Sometimes, if I've not seen a movie recently, like it feels like I'm wrong when I think about it, when I rethink on it. I don't know.
Oh, I hear you. It's available on Amazon Prime.
Oh, I have it on Amazon
Anyway.
Prime, I think.
There we go.
What
else was I gonna say?
Oh, and that's episode 5 is also where Nancy finds the portal, and she sees the monster, and Jonathan saves her. Which I was pretty sure she was going to get back out of there. I was pretty optimistic of it.
Also, like, weren't at the end where you like, oh, shouldn't her and Jonathan get together? Because like when they're in the police station after he beats up the kids or gets beat up and like he's being processed, and like the lady's like, oh, that's not your boyfriend? Like, she's like, well, he loves you. Only people in love care that much.
Right.
So, remember? And well, anyway, so I was like, oh, they're gonna get together in the end, but no, she just gets back with her old friend or boyfriend, and now just getting a little peck on the cheek for our hero. Here's your new camera.
Well,
Thanks, and we'll see you later. You know what I mean?
yeah, get the fuck out of here. I'm done with you. I'm going to go cuddle with Steve.
Poor John. Yeah. Steve saved me. I mean, you were there for all the other time. You know, Steve, we've had, you know, relations, and he hit the monster with a spike, which I thought was pretty hot. So I guess I'm still with Steve. Sorry, Jonathan.
But I like throughout the season, I did want it to be that way. But when Steve redeemed himself, I'm like, all right, they can stay together. Like, I'm all right. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, he got it. Yeah, he doesn't hang out with his shitty friends anymore. He's earned it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna be a good student from now on. So like, he can get that sweet nectar, that sweet Nancy nectar. And I can say that because even though she plays like a 15-year-old, she's like 20 in real life. So I can say that.
Oh, by the way, I think she's 19, but like everyone looked that up because I think I mentioned that I was at my buddy's house. We were like, what? How old is she? And then like, because if you type in Nancy or actress that plays Nancy, Google finishes it. It's like,
how old is she?
Is Nancy 18? Like, it's like, I think she's 19.
Yeah,
It's
she
just
is.
like everyone that saw the show looked it up. So everyone, if Google finishes it for you, that means like 1 million people looked it up.
Well, there's like those scenes where like she's in her bra, and I'm like, they would not do that if she was like legitimately 16 years old. Like that would be
yeah, if this is like a horror movie from
problematic.
the 80s.
Yeah, right. Well, that's true, right? It'd be rated R.
If this was a real horror movie from the 80s, there would have been like 10 more sets
Titties
of tits,
everywhere.
and they would have looked awesome.
Yeah, like for no reason, there'd just be like
Yeah.
naked people in
Titties
the background.
everywhere.
Thankfully, it
I think we
wasn't.
already mentioned this before, but like, there's even titties in,
There's titties where?
just people put titties in our movies in the 80s.
Yeah, they're just
In
like in
Die
the
Hard?
background. Yeah, like for no reason, they're just
Yeah,
there.
but for no reason, just like, oh, put some titties in. What's up? Yeah.
Like,
Put
what if
it
we
up
have
a
this
bit.
scene where like there's a really good gunfight and a lot of action, like explosions? Like, yeah, but like, how do we get titties into that shot? I'm like, well, maybe they're like doing drugs. I'm like, all right, they're doing drugs in the background and a gunfight breaks out, but their shirts are off. Print it, love it, do it.
Yeah. Die This will
Hard.
get people to buy tickets. With titties.
So, and then like in episode 6, one of my favorite parts about that was that's where we find out that 11 loves Eggo waffles, when she goes to the grocery store.
He goes to the store, just grabs a bunch.
She grabs a bunch, and then the guy like looks
Hey, you
at
have
her,
to pay for those kids.
and she calls him a mouth breather. I loved it.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, mouth breather. So, yeah, I love that part. And then she like slams the doors on him. Like I started like really cheering for 11 at like probably that point in the series, because then she started kind of like using her powers a lot more to like do stuff.
She's like a superhero. She's like Dr. Manhattan in it. She's like the only one with superpowers and stuff.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. She really kind of is.
Oh, also, I like the story that it got into, the conspiracy theory stuff. Like that kind of tickles my fancy. What are they? They're all MK Ultra experiments, and she's the daughter of one. I thought that was fucking awesome.
Yeah,
That's a real ridiculous thing the government did. I think if you see the movie The Men Who Stare at Goats, it's all about that.
yeah.
Remote viewing and LSD and shit. But also, and you feel bad for her mom. She was just
Terrible.
This
Yeah.
person that needed money, and they experimented, and then they just stole the child. Like, and also, I thought that it was going to be like a super happy ending. Like, she just destroys a monster, and then they reunite her with
For
her mom,
sure.
and everyone's back with their kids, and and like 11 lives a happy,
I
normal
thought
life or something.
so. That's perfect because it's in episode 6 where 11 steals waffles, but they also meet Terry Ives, 11's mom, and you would think that again, like nobody talks to anybody about anything. So
Yeah.
Hopper and Joyce go to her house and they're there talking to her, and she's non-responsive because like her daughter's gone. It's been traumatic, and they brainwashed her to believe that like she miscarried in the 3rd trimester, but ultimately they just stole her child.
So she has her own thing where no one believes her. You know what I mean? Because they probably
Right.
told everyone else she miscarried. She's like, no, I swear I had a daughter. Like, I don't understand.
That's where you would assume, though, that they would empathize with her and be like, no one believes us about our shit, but we know we're
Yeah.
right, too. Like, why didn't they say anything? I don't know.
Or like I thought they were gonna be like, we found your daughter, and she was gonna come out of her comatose state, or is
Right.
that comatose?
Yeah, she's kind of
Or
comatose.
something else.
Catatonic.
Catatonic. Thank you, the catatonic state. But she doesn't. And they don't mention it. Like you said, they don't talk to each other.
Just leave
They
her
don't
hanging.
mention it. She doesn't. Yeah. And then like you like when they met 11, you're like, we found your mom. You have a mom. Like that guy's not your father. Like no, they don't mention it.
Right.
Like, so we just drove like 3 towns over, and we think we found your mom. But I guess there wasn't time for it. But
There was another great scene in that episode where Nancy and Jonathan are at like the hunting supply store, and they're buying bear traps and like huge nail, like all kinds of hunting supplies and stuff. And they go to the counter.
Give me 3 boxes of 38 too.
Yeah, right.
Guy just gets it.
Yeah, for like kids. But
Well-
then he's like, "What are you doing with all this stuff?" And they pause for a moment, and she's like, "We're monster hunting," and he's like, "Cool."
Whoa.
Like,
Right on.
I just yeah, I just liked it because it's like that guy has no idea of anything that's going on, and she was just like, "Fuck it, I'm just going to tell him exactly what we're doing because he's not going to believe us anyway." And
Yeah.
it's
There's
like,
no-
"We're monster hunting."
There's no explanation for buying fire, gasoline, bear traps, nails, and
38 ammo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you could just go to a store and buy a bear trap too? I guess hardware stores used to sell more stuff back then or something. It's much more compartmentalized now.
That's true.
Yeah. I wouldn't know where to go buy a bear trap. I would just get it on Amazon. I wonder if they're on Amazon now. Now let me see.
As soon as you said that, I started typing. I'm like, let me. Bear trap. There's bear spray. Yep, there's bear. Fuck yeah. Grizzly bear trap, $170.
Prime shipping to it is prime shipping.
Why wouldn't it be?
Nice.
Yeah.
See, yeah, you don't even have to tell anyone you're monster hunting these days. You can just go on Amazon and order your bear trap, and it'll show up 2 days later.
Bam.
Free shipping.
Free shipping. Free 2-day. Yeah, that was awesome. Oh,
Used to be good ammunition too, but thanks Obama.
thanks, Obama. They took your guns.
Sticker guns.
And then that same episode is also where we find out too, though, that 11 was the one that opened the portal.
Yeah,
She,
that was a cool revelation too.
yeah.
Oh, and when she touches the monster, that looked really good. Like, I think it must have been
Yeah.
a costumed thing. I
Something
don't know if it
tangible.
was CGI.
Yeah, they had to have created something small that she could like touch.
Isn't it weird? They're just like, wait, you saw a monster in there? Like after she
Like,
contacts,
let's go make contact with
Yeah.
it. Like,
They're like, because like the whole point of that experiment is like we need to know where the Russians are, where the nukes are, where their spies are, who's the spies and stuff. And she accomplishes that. Then she's also like, oh, also there was like a weird monster thing in that dimension too. You want me to go touch it? Like, yeah, go touch it. It's like, all right,
right? Like, don't do that.
send the scared girl into the place that we can't monitor or see anything. So,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. And then on the seventh episode called the bathtub, that's where they make the sensory. Well, it starts off with that moment that you reference where like Hopper was like Batman, like the kids are all hiding on the bus because the helicopter's flying overhead and like trying to find their location, and of course like all those government vehicles, like guys in suits and sunglasses and stuff, show up, and then they're talking to them on the radio. They finally get in touch and they tell them where they're at, and then these guys come into the bus, and just before they like start to walk into the bus, Hopper like bashes them. You hear all these punches and stuff, and he's like, all right, let's go. And they're like, all right, cool, let's get off the bus. Like, that was the moment where I'm like, that's where Hopper had progressed like a lot. There was such a good progression of the characters where like everybody started off like either they were kind of cool and they got really awesome, or I was like, I don't know how I feel about this, and then by the end I'm like, they're great and I love them. And that was like the ultimate moment for me where I was like, he's awesome. I like that guy.
like him too. Do you want to talk about the ending then? I guess
Fuck. Yeah.
Like while we're on Hopper,
Yeah.
and I fucking love the way they did it. Where like you see, he's just taking pills and drinking in the morning. Like you're like, this guy has some kind of PTSD or something. I don't know
He's got some
why.
issues, yeah.
Yeah, and then like
Oh, and they even reference at some point that like, oh, I bet you feel like you're back in the big city now. Like he maybe used to be like a bigger city cop at some point, and he's kind of like gone out to the sticks, and he's like in the boonies doing his chief work now. But maybe he was once more prominent. But yeah, so go on.
Like, well, the city, they weren't my friends that died, and they're like, oh, sorry. But okay, so he's just doing the pills. What the fuck?
Drinking beers.
Damn it, lost my train of thought. Yeah, drinking beers.
I know where you're going with it.
And then when they're walking through the woods, he's like, "Oh yeah, maybe you'll teach. Maybe I could teach your daughter someday." He's like, "Well, she lives with her mom, whatever." And then the other guy's like, "His daughter's dead." Like you learn a little bit about that, and then they're like, it's like you find out like did she have cancer? Is that
she had cancer.
Yeah, she had the treatment and stuff, but like. They do. I just love the way they do it with the flashbacks, and like it's him trying to like save his daughter, tell her to breathe, and stuff, and he's doing the same thing to like Will to bring him back to life.
Yeah.
So like it's such a, it does like the flashback thing. I guess kind of like an M. Night Shyamalan movie or something. You know what I mean? Like when he was doing good movies, but like it's like, coincides what's going on right now, and like he's also. By saving Will, he's saving his own daughter type of thing.
Yeah, like as he's pounding on Will's chest, they're showing like the heart monitor of his daughter when she was like, in cardiac arrest or whatever, when they lost her like pulse. And so that's when he's like trying to revive Will. And you can see like the flashbacks in his head, like this can't happen again kind of thing.
Like, that was, like, the most emotional for me. I'm not going to go all Kevin Smith and videotape myself crying. But, like, I wasn't crying.
Did you cry, though?
No, I don't cry. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I was like...
Well, I was going to say, because I did. Like, I shed a tear at that moment. I did.
Get, like, the feeling in my throat, but I just, like, fight it. I'm just like...
Be a man, Lucky! Be a man! You're a fucking Marine! Marines don't cry!
Pretty much, and I'm just like... Oh, no! It's like his daughter. I was like, oh.
All right. Well, you felt it though. You felt the same
That's
thing.
what I should do. That's my version of Kevin Smith taping himself for the internet crying. It's just me fighting, crying. Just like, no, don't do it. Oh.
You felt all the emotions of crying without the physical expression of crying.
Yes.
Got it.
Or the emotional release or anything. So, like, it's all just
Pent
boiling
up.
up inside of me. And...
You're gonna have a good cry one day. Like for no reason. You're just gonna be driving down the road and just burst into tears and not know why. It's all...
I just, like, calmly pull over, signal.
That'd be like one of those, like, aggressively sobbing, like you can't breathe. You're, like, hyperventilating. Like when
Like,
you were...
cut to an hour later, police pulls over. It's like, "Are you all right, sir?" And then, like, I just look at him and, like, my eyes are all red and, like, tear. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for checking up on me. I'm gonna be on my way now."
I was just checking my route, making sure I
Yeah.
had the most efficient route.
I just sent a text. It was a text being responsible. I just sent a text. I don't drive in text because it's wrong. Good.
All right, so yeah, so finale was awesome. I have so many questions though that I have to, like, run
Oh,
by
let's
you.
talk about repercussions then. Because
God,
you want to start with that?
Yeah,
So-
I think there's a lot.
I don't know if anyone on the internet's talked about it. I haven't sought it out yet, so I don't know what people are saying.
Yeah.
But, like, so let's cut to Will Byard leaves dinner because he said he
Oh,
didn't
you're
watch.
jumping right in. Okay, because I
Or
have
did you want to go somewhere? So you can go there first.
because
before we
that's
get-
that. Yeah, let's hold on
Yeah,
to that one
go to
because that
you.
one's like the meat and potatoes right there.
Yeah.
Well, like,
Runny potatoes his mom made.
yeah, perfect. So, like, one of the biggest things I had questions about that I was like, what the fuck just happened there was, like, when they leave, when Will's alive and they're like, oh, Will's good, and the kids all run in to see him. Hopper, like, leaves the hospital, and when he leaves the hospital, one of those, like, government vehicles pulls up, two guys in suits in the driver and passenger seat, and he gets in the car, but you don't know why, and you don't know where he goes. So, like, I had a really big question about that. Like, where did he go? Why did he get into the car with them? And, like, is he a part of something bigger that maybe we don't know about or
I
something?
think I have a half answer for you.
Okay.
So, to get them to let them go into the dimension and try to look for Will, doesn't he threaten them? He's like, I'm my buddy's a reporter.
Yep.
He's already got the stores. If
Yep.
you don't let me in, I'm going to tell everyone. But, like, if you let me in, this all disappears. I don't tell anyone about this.
Yep.
And, like, so they agree to let him go. So I think when he's getting in the car with them, he's just going to some kind of debriefing and stuff. And they're just, like, covering their ass. Like, okay, so this happened. This is what the story for this was, right? Okay, this is where the kid came from. This is whatever. So, like, you're the chief. You're not going to tell anyone. You know, there's no story, you know, right?
No, well,
You just think there's more to
I'm gonna,
this?
yeah, because I'm gonna shoot that down for this reason, because everybody of consequence from that what's the I don't want to call it government agency anymore. What was it? It was something energy.
Department of Energy was probably like what
Yeah,
they
okay.
called the facility there, but like the people that did MK Ultra was the CIA.
Okay, so-
let's assume it was the CIA.
But those people, so like it was Matthew Modine's character was like the director, and then that other woman that I can't remember her character name, or maybe Agent Connie Frazier, perhaps. Is
that the
looking
actress's
through
name?
No, Catherine Dyer.
Oh.
Agent Connie Frazier. But anyway, both of them get killed. 11
Yeah.
kills both of them. So, like,
Well, no, she doesn't
Okay.
kill the good doctor. The good doctor dies in the most fitting way, in which the monster.
the
eats-
monster kills them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But right, so they both die.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think anybody involved with that sort
There's
of
no one left.
yeah. That so right. So that's where, like, I'm like, I don't quite. I mean, obviously, we're probably gonna find more out about it, but I just that was one
Okay,
thing that
so
I'm
maybe
like,
it's like-
I don't know what that is, and I don't really have a thought on it other than I want to know what that.
So
what
maybe
was
it's like
happening.
no one else knows about the deal. All those scientists or agents and scientists are all dead. So maybe their higher up sent someone to go find out what's going on.
Yeah, there's always
Like
another person up, right? So
Yeah.
there's like a more ultimate bad guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was one of them. Obviously, like 11 says goodbye to Mike, and she like kills the monster. But then at the end, we see Hopper like collecting like food at a holiday gathering, and he goes into the woods with it, and he drops it in like this like official like box. It's not like some just random box. It's like clearly serving a purpose. It's got a little door on it, and he opens it up and he puts the food in there. And then at first you're like, okay, he's putting food in there. Maybe that's for 11. And then he puts waffles on top of it.
Specifically puts waffles.
Yeah, and so you're like,
Waffles.
yes. So she's still around. But is she like living in the woods? Is she in that dimension? Where is she? You know, or is he doing that as like you
Just
can read it a lot of different
ritual
ways.
type thing.
Yeah, right.
Like when you leave like a flask on someone's grave or something.
Exactly. Right.
Their favorite.
Yep. Perfect.
Drink.
So, yeah. So I had a question about that too.
What if the people in the car?
You're still thinking on that one?
It's the smoking man from X-Files, and then after he leaves, Mulder and Scully show up, and it's one big tie-in because they're bringing back the X-Files, and
It's already back.
Did it get renewed? They did like 6 episodes.
Oh yeah. No, I don't know if they're doing any more beyond that.
Let's ask Kathleen. She knows.
She does know. She probably doesn't know.
No, she doesn't know.
So then, yeah, let's talk about Will, because he's not right.
Will Byer. Also, okay, just one thing before I love those 2 cops. They're just awesome.
They are funny, dude.
So you got the black guy and the white guy. The white guy's just like he's like one of those guys. Like, I guess I'll be a cop. I'm just like not into it and stuff.
There weren't a whole lot of moments where I found myself like hysterically laughing, maybe a little chuckle or smile at something or whatever. I can't remember the scene, but he had me like laughing out loud at a point, and I can't remember it.
It's when so 11 breaks a kid's arm, so his mom brings him into the police office, and like he's explaining, he's like, right, so a little girl broke your arm, right? Okay. And she's like, you're not taking this serious. Like, I am taking this serious. You know what I mean? Like, he's just got that voice.
Yeah, and he's like, well, and it's not even just that some little girl broke your arm, but he's like, some little girl broke your arm with her mind and like made a boy fly. Got it. Okay. And what else happened?
Yeah.
You're right though. They were a good little like 1-2 punch of like comedy for the show.
Yeah, real subtle like.
Yeah. But yeah, so that final scene, like Will's at the table and he's like, "Oh, I got to wash my hands." And, you know, Joyce is all proud. She's like, oh, my boy's going to go wash his hands. He's growing up into such a nice young man. And he goes into the bathroom, and he's just kind of, like, looking at himself in the mirror. And then he, like, coughs up, like, a worm or something awful.
Yeah.
And then it kind of flashes for a minute, like, over to that dimension and then back to the bathroom. So, you know, because when he gets rescued, he's got, like, this tube down his throat. So, like, what's your thoughts? Like, what's your hypothesis?
Aliens.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we're just going by that they're referencing or directly pulling from 80s, 70s, 80s movies, that would be a reference to Aliens, where, you know, the facehuggers, or like, you know, the aliens didn't kill everyone. They'd keep some to be human hosts for the facehuggers, and, you know, they'd implant an embryo in them, and that's how they reproduce. So maybe the thing, it's either some kind of sickness just from being in the dimension, or he was implanted with something that's why it let him live. And like, right, and he you know, he was cocooned up with a thing in his mouth. Right. They had to pull it out. So if it's going by aliens, maybe it was laying some kind of egg inside of him. Or something.
That's exactly my thought.
So he'll either change or something, give birth to something.
So I guess I have a similar thought. Like I can totally subscribe to what you're saying. My thought was that Will could potentially be. So I'm thinking like future. I'm thinking, okay, season 2. You know, the monster's been killed, but they do show like in the final episode, they're like, oh, I wonder if the monster's the only monster in here, and then you see like what looks like an embryo or an egg that was on the ground that's like hatched open. So there's probably other little ones that are growing up. But I thought of it like maybe Will was
Who said that?
Hopper and Joyce when they were like walking through.
Oh.
Yeah, she's like, I wonder if that's the only one in
I forgot
here.
about it.
Yeah. So like, when they're walking through, she's like, oh, I wonder if that was the only one in here, or I wonder if we're in here alone, or something like that. And it's like a minute later, they see like an egg that was on the ground, and he like kind of pulls it open, and it's like he doesn't say anything, but it's obviously for us to kind of be like, yeah, there's probably other stuff going on in there. Yeah, Will's not right. So I thought about it another way. Like you're saying, he could be a host for like breeding, and that's probably more likely what it is. My thought was that maybe, because there's never like an origin about 11 and how she got her powers. So I'm just wondering, like, if somehow Will was affected, if he maybe has some sort of ability now, and I don't know.
Okay.
And I was just thinking, like, okay, so if 11's still alive and she comes back and she's good and she likes the boys and stuff, maybe Will would somehow be like an opposition to her. But I don't know. That was just my kind of theory. Maybe that's not as fleshed out as I think it is. Now that you mentioned that Will's being used as like the host, you're probably right. I think I like your idea better.
Yeah, to enter this dimension.
Yeah.
To answer your question, I think where 11 gets her powers, it's not explained, but so her mom was experimented on from them. So maybe like whatever, because they were trying to use those adults as psychics, and then with whatever chemicals or whatever they were pumping into them, and if her mom was slightly gifted, and then whatever they did to her, and they give birth to a child, I guess that's the origin of the mutation or whatever, where she got her powers. Then, to me anyway.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it does.
I don't know what their story is, but that seems to be what it is. And then I wonder, okay, so when Will coughs up the thing, I'm like, is that a living thing, or is that just whatever? Like, is that thing gonna grow and gestate in the sewers and mature? You know what I mean? Or
Right.
is he just gonna keep hacking up weird shit? And then the other thing is, so this might be of note. So you have to think of all the people that either had contact with the monster or that dimension. So
Yeah.
these are going to be other people involved. So you got Will, who was in there for a prolonged period of time. Then you have 11, who's, I don't know, she's moved on, but she may have some sort of presence. The chief, what's the name again?
Hopper.
Sorry, I have a bad. Joyce and Hopper, they went in the dimension. Nancy went in the dimension.
Yeah, right, yep.
Steve hit the monster.
Yeah, he did kind of touch it.
I guess those are all the people that actually went in the dimension and stuff.
Yeah.
So those are going to be the key people. It's basically the main characters are the key people. And then the kids had contact with 11, but they didn't go in the dimension or anything, though. But like maybe they'll be sensitive to her presence or something like that.
Yeah, well, and they mentioned that in that other dimension that there is like the air is toxic, and Joyce and Hopper go in and they're wearing these suits with like breathing apparatus and they're protected, but when they find Will, they pop the helmets off, to give him mouth to mouth and like whatever.
Yeah, so they give mouth to mouth to something that just had this alien thing orally in him.
Yeah. Yeah, this could be like a whole can of worms, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with all of that. So and again, those guys had the creators of the show, the Duffer Brothers. They had an interview with IGN at the TCA, Television Critics Association, or whatever it is, or of America. I don't know what it is, but anyway, they did an interview and they said, well, it's not been officially announced for like a second season, but I think there's like every Netflix series that they've ever done has at least gotten 2 seasons, so it's kind of like a foregone conclusion. And obviously with the critical reception, it's going to get a second season.
There's so much buzz about this this show, and like we're probably late to the game. Like everyone else reviewed it like
last week or whatever.
But like yeah. But it was like a slow burn, the reviews too. Like the critics had to wait and hear about it and then watch it too. So.
Sure.
But so much buzz about it. Like it has to get a second season.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's like a foregone conclusion. But they talked about it. They said like it's not confirmed, but they said, if and when you guys do a second season, like when will it be set? And they said it'd be set 1 year in the future. Because they said one of the boys, I think the kid that plays Dustin, they said like his voice is already dropping. Like his voice is radically, yeah. So they're like, we can't, yeah. They're like, we can't make it the same. We can't make it like the next week.
It's not gonna feel as young and innocent as.
Yeah, it probably won't. And it's
they all have growth spurts. They're just all teenagers now. It's like, oh shit.
I think there was a theory out there that they would do like American Horror Story, where they would do like a Stranger Things season 2, but it'd be like a different story, different time period.
Before I saw the series, I thought it was like the Twilight Zone, where each episode was going to be different. Like, because the title was The Disappearance of Warriors. I thought that was just going to be the story, but then it was one thing. And yeah, that's what I was asked. Like, is this going to be the same town? Like, I assumed there's going to be a different story, just like you just said, like American Horror Story. But so I don't know. I guess I'm good either way if they do either. Like, they're good storytellers and filmmakers, so I'm down for whatever they're making.
Yeah, I want more of it. Bring it on.
Yeah.
And I was, just to like echo what some people are saying, like the reception of this, people are saying like it's the best thing I've seen all year long, movies or TV. Which I was like, that's a high review.
It's pretty close to me if it isn't, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, of everything that you've seen this calendar year, what would you put above it? I mean, that'd be difficult to do. And I'll just say this about
I watched Captain America a lot.
Yeah,
maybe
true.
that.
Yeah, but you've watched this twice already, right? So it's like 16 hours.
That's true. There's no other Netflix episode I've watched twice. So
not even Daredevil?
No, I haven't watched that twice.
Would you say so? Daredevil came out this
I like
year.
Daredevil and Punisher. Okay, that was this year too, wasn't it?
Yeah. So do you like Stranger Things better than Daredevil? Ooh.
It pushed different buttons. So
that's fair.
I don't know. I guess I like them the same.
No,
but
that's
like it's hard when
pick one. You got to pick.
Well,
one.
this is the thing I most recently watched, though. You know what I mean? So
it's fresh. It's exciting.
I think I like Daredevil better. I like. Just based on me investigating my own bias, just because I just saw Stranger Things. Is that fair?
Yeah,
Can I say that?
It's a cop out, but it's fine. No, I mean,
what do you? Is this?
Here's what I'll say. I've said, I feel like I just stand on this little.
Well, what about
soapbox.
Game of Thrones too? That's also a thing.
I didn't want. I know. I didn't
better
want,
than Game.
I didn't watch this season,
Oh,
so
okay.
I can't say. Yeah, I know. I have to catch up. Which Game of Thrones is like delayed. It's not like the next season's not going to happen until July of next year. So I have like 11 months to catch up on the seasons of Game of Thrones. So I'll be fine. I'll be good for next year.
Okay.
But I love the pacing of these shows. Like in 8 episodes, every episode is important and impactful and makes a difference in the story. And nothing is ever like at a standstill.
There's not a filler episode.
Never.
Yeah.
Never. So these 8, 12, 15 episode seasons, again, especially when they all come out together and you can binge watch it, that's the way to do these shows.
Yeah,
I think.
it's like just the right number of episodes.
Yeah. Yeah. And, well, like Game of Thrones is 10 episodes, and then the last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones they're going to be 7 each season, each of the last 2 seasons. And I don't want to like have a crusade against the AMC series because like Breaking Bad was great, and Walking Dead for me, I've kind of come in and out of Walking Dead, but man, there's some episodes that just like nothing happens, and it's like, boy, that's an hour of my life I'm never getting back.
Yeah. Well, I will say I love Breaking Bad, so I didn't feel like there was a episode they took off. There's definitely slower ones, but they had meaning. But like I think Walking Dead, there's a few Yeah, there's some throwaway episodes in
Oh,
there.
definitely. Well, with Breaking Bad, it was 5 total seasons, so it was like pretty.
Yeah.
Even though the episode count was higher, the season count was pretty low. So like even if you had, but I feel like there weren't that many episodes per season in Breaking Bad.
I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head. It's been so long since I watched that.
I know.
But yeah, I've watched a lot of Walking Dead and be like, what? That wasn't good.
Yeah, there's 62 episodes in Breaking Bad. Like that's 3 seasons of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And they don't all have to be that long.
Like, not all the characters are interesting in The Walking Dead, especially if you're going to kill off half of them. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And then introduce a new one. You're just... it gets repetitive after a while because you know what's going to happen. It's like, oh, I like this guy. It means they're going to kill him. So, yep. And they did. I was right. Just...
So that rounds it out for the week. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, I think we'll talk about the comics on a different episode or something.
Okay. So you're good? Did we do it?
I think we did it.
We did it.
We're good.
Awesome.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
All right. Well, for the Best Friends podcast, I'm Justin.
And I'm Lucky.
And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Best Friends Podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard on today's show, check us out on the web at tbfcast.com. Follow us on Twitter at tbfcast. And like us on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/the Best Friends Podcast.